We have no idea what we're going to talk about. Welcome to Route 1 Podcast.
Welcome to the Route 1 Podcast, the only podcast where we have a set list of topics that we're going to talk about in every single episode, and I'm going to jump right into that topic section. Hey, guys. Wait, we literally had something at the end of the episode that I said we need to talk about that we didn't.
Open Teamsheet.
Open Teamsheet!
Oh, yeah!
Yeah. Brady, you start.
People aren't doing it. Why?
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 So all right, so here's the thing, right? People going into the announcement that Open Teamsheet was going to be a thing, it just straight up said, like, I hate Open Teamsheet. It ruins creativity. It makes the game no good. And this and that. We had a whole episode about it, I'm pretty sure. Now that it's an option on the Showdown ladder, I think they just don't do Open Teamsheet, sometimes to spite the people who want it.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
No, because the type of people who like say Open Teamsheet ruins creativity are the same type of people who are like, this is like their last stand. This is the most important thing, you know? Like, those metagame losers won't get the best. You know what I mean? Like, they make it a bigger deal than it is.
Yeah.
They're the type of people, to quote Karen.
Oh, that was another thing. Oh, that.
We did talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm a vouch
That was
for the
funny
very
as fuck.
small minority of players that probably are trying to, test a team for in-game ladder. That I would vouch for.
I'm gonna keep it there
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah,
In-game
you'd only
ladder?
find that on
In-game
the,
ladder?
On the Series 1 ladder anyway on Showdown, so if you're playing Series 2, I don't understand why you're not opening teams.
And this is a little bit of a hot take, right? So the ladder itself is the practice ladder. Like, ranked is or in the grand scheme, I don't know how to explain it, right? In the grand scheme of Pokemon, VGC 2023 Series 1 online on the game itself is the practice ladder. For some people, it's all they're going to play because they don't go to tournaments. But but it is the practice ladder. Like, people will test out a team in a best of 3 if they're going to a tournament, but they'll also take it onto the ladder and play some games. I don't honestly see the purpose of making a team on if you're like testing it out before you bring it onto the ladder and make it, like, I get that, but I've heard people saying, like, oh, I'm practicing for the ladder itself, and I'm like, but that's the practice.
You're practicing for the practice.
Yeah, like, you're practicing for the practice, and I get that, like, that's all some people are going to be able to do, and I completely understand that, but I don't think that, like, you need to practice for it, if that makes sense, because it's not like you had a set amount of games, right?
Well, but that's the thing,
like,
is
you can like play and learn,
but depending on who you are, like what kind of time you got, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know how to say this. If you're like, I would say, like, if you've only got like one cartridge, you only got one account that can play on the ladder, right? You don't want to go 0-15 to start. You'd rather, like, make some shit that's decent, test it on Showdown first, then take it to the ladder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But I'm talking about, like, the people who bring a
that's
team to, like, I'm talking about the people who bring a team to, like, the 18, because with, like, tournaments, it's like, oh, my team hit like 1900. I know it's tournament. I know it's gonna be good for a tournament. I played in a couple of, like, room tours. I best of 3 to a few people. It's ready for the tournament, right?
Yeah. But
there are some people who treat the ladder like
that's the be all end all.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not trying to, like, be condescending, because I'm really trying to speak in such a way that it's like, oh, I get it, But it's like, you're not going to, if you're the sort of person who aims to be, like, number 1 on the ladder, you can just do it on the ladder with a team that works functionally, right? Like, the sort of person who would make it to number 1 sort of intuitively knows that their team's going to work. So why not go straight there instead of wasting your time on Showdown, grinding out games to later grind out games? You know what I mean?
Because it's getting the team in game.
Yeah,
that's another step.
wanna
And
spend
also
resources.
there's a group of people,
Yeah, there's plenty of people who don't have access to in-person locals, and so it's really just online tournaments.
Yeah.
And so I get that having a high ladder ranking is a sense of pride, and it should be, honestly. If your win-loss ratio is that good for you to be number one, or you just won a shit ton of games in a row without dropping one, that's impressive, and that's bragging rights. But I feel like, you know, not everybody wants to compete in big tournaments and go to events and travel or do online tournaments every week and stuff like that, you know? I think it just depends on the person. Do they want a tournament experience, or do they want a ladder when they have free time?
Yeah, that's what I was acknowledging. I mean, like, the person who aims to be number one on the in-game ladder, in my opinion, is the sort of person that intuitively knows that their team's going to work after a few games no matter where they are on the ladder.
Gotcha.
Like on Showdown, and thus would know to build their team in game at that point, and then do that instead of if they're on limited time, then that's even more the reason to just go straight to the ladder. You know.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, like I'm trying to like communicate that part. I don't know how to say it.
The whole point of like Showdown and the reason that it exists in the way it does is to be able to test teams at a higher frequency than you can on the in-game ladder.
Yeah,
because the Ash's point of like, well, you're not gonna, waste resources in the game to be able to, test a team on cartridge ladder if you want to do that. You'd rather like speed run make 50 teams on Showdown, or like copy of team, right? You know what I'm saying? Like
just like me.
The other no team sheet guys, and I'm gonna say a word that's a little bit of a curse word on this channel. Brady?
Oh.
Armor Rouge.
Brady is a curse word?
Armor Rouge players will never say yes to Open Team Sheet. It doesn't matter if they're like number 3 in the world. They're not opening that team sheet.
Ash.
I did not realize this was a thing. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. So the reason is because Armor Rouge is a good Trick Room Mon, a good Scarfer. They don't want to tell you if they have Wide Guard. They don't want to tell you if they're like
got
some
hit by
kind
weakness
of
policy
choice
plus
mon.
U-turn. I see.
Or weakness policy U-turn. It's literally like it's also I also have that issue with Annihilate players where it's like I haven't had a single Annihilate player show me their Open Team Sheet. Because is it bulk up? Is it final gambit? One time it was both.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I get not wanting to do Open Team Sheet, but I feel like after a certain point on the ladder, like on the Showdown ladder, it sort of makes sense that it's like, hey, your team works. Can you allow other people to practice reading information? You know, because honestly, being able to effectively look at an Open Team Sheet and remember shit and remember to refer to the Open Team Sheet in the middle of a game is legitimately a skill that I lack.
It's intimidating. I've been saying this, but like the first tournament I went to this generation was like, wow. I had to straight up tell my opponent at one point, I was like, damn, I can't look at this. This is like information overload. Like,
yeah.
I didn't really talk about, I don't remember if I talked about how I started doing it at San Diego, but I did a little bit of note-taking practice before, because, Open Team Sheet's great, but it's not like the opponent's team as well as the opponent does.
Yeah.
You can only make, there's still things, especially stats, how defensive they are, how fast they are, those guesses can only be made based off of, the moves and items they have, and sometimes that's not even enough. So I feel like there's still some mystery to the game in the first place, but also to get past that information overload, I started paying attention to things that would give me hints as to what the stats would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I see Focus Sash Meowscarada, I don't know, I have a feeling it might be Adamant. If I see, if I see Scarf on Annihilate, I don't even have to look at the rest of its moves, right? I just quick, snappy things. And Terra types is something that I think is really important. This is my advice if you need to internalize a team sheet fast. Look at if any Terra type is off from its regular type, especially on things like Dondozo. If it is Dondozo, what kind of Tatsugiri does it have? What Pokemon know Trick Room? What Pokemon know Taunt? What Pokemon know Tailwind? What speed control do they have over you?
And the rest can mostly
like
be inferred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess I can see like a Golden Go and like look at its Terra type and see like Terra Steel and be like, okay, I'm fairly certain this thing is gonna be just like standard. You know, like.
And now here's.
Dude, that's such a bad habit I have. I have that bad habit. That is literally something I do that makes me lose games.
I feel like it's more instead of like it's like sort of re-saying what Ash was saying. It's more or less about like knowing what tools your opponent has, as opposed to like everything about the Pokemon. Like, until you see that Pokemon on the field, or like you think that they might have it in the back, you look at the team sheet and see, oh, okay, so they might have thing with coverage that beats me. In fact, so I have to.
Yeah.
The team sheet's there to help you like during the match. I feel like like getting handed the sheet. I feel like it's more just like, okay, they have these tools and that's the game, and then you develop a game plan, and then later on sort of like remind yourself with the sheet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, so this,
I mean,
Meow has Brick Break. Okay, awesome. I'm going to...
Yeah, and that's... There's another thing that I want to say real quick, is you need to be aware of what your team is afraid of. If your team specifically gets countered by Brick Break, Meowscarada, because fighting type move... Like, they don't have an Annihilate. So if you see an Annihilate, you know you have to be worried. But if there's like Brick Break Meowscarada and your team relies on screens or has a King Gambit or something, that's something that you want to look for every single time. Think of like your bad matchups, figure out what it comes down to. Sometimes it's a move, sometimes it's a set of Pokemon, and look for details on that Pokemon that can help you out.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I'll see, oh, this Pelipper... I fucking hate fighting Pelipper as an Armor Shadidi player. I see that Pelipper doesn't have Protect because it's running, 2 attacks, Tailwind, Wide Guard. There's my out. It can't Protect. If I get up Trick Room, it's completely vulnerable to anything I hit it with, right? As long as it's single target.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. You want to know your team as well. So I think Open Team Sheet, if anything, it's like... It doesn't give you any outs, which I think is what some people are thinking. Like, oh, it ruins the surprise, it ruins the strategy, you don't even have to think. There's still a lot that you need to consider.
Oh my god, I hated those comments where they were like, there's no strategy left in this game. Like, bro, what are you talking about?
I'm still sorry. Have to play the game.
Yeah, there's no strategy in chess because I know what each piece can do and how many pieces they have of it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, oh, you all right, I'm gonna say it. I've never been this outright hostile to like any comment like that. I'm gonna say it. If you actually thought that like opening up Open Team Sheets made Pokemon less strategy based, I actually think you might be a little bit stupid. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna finally say it. This is the worst I've ever said anything about anyone who's commented on my channel. You might be a little bit stupid because checkers has strategy. I had someone say there was less strategy than checkers, and I'm like, oh my god, you were actually just malding about it. You're literally just malding and commenting right now.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so fun fact, getting surprised, not strategy. Surprise strategies aren't strategies. They're just like...
No, they're strategies. I won't say that much, but I'll just say you're not going to win a tournament with it.
Yeah, because, I mean, you literally can't do that anymore, by the way.
Yeah.
Unless you have just, like, the most absurd EV spread of all time, but anyway. Yeah, it's just like, I don't get it, because you still got to play out the game. If they've got like a weird team, weird move on their team, and it beats your team, you know that it exists, but like you still got to deal with the fact that it exists and can hurt your team. It's like, that's crazy. Like, random coverage move on Pokemon still can work, funnily enough.
It's almost like having the information about certain things allows the better player to win more consistently because they understand what steps must be taken during the game to create a winning situation.
Yep.
Yep. I'm bringing in my own like sort of anecdotal thing. Fun fact: running Terra Fairy Tita in a Terra Flying Tita like abundant meta, like.
That works.
Okay, it works. It's good. Okay, but like I feel like if I'm facing down a Tita with my Garchomp and I'm like, okay, that's going to Terra Flying. That's the only thing that's going to like. I feel like the only way that wins against the Garchomp is that happens. It's a surprise. If I know it's Terra Fairy, I'm just going to Earthquake. But because I know it's Terra Flying, I'm going to make the middle ground play of, I'm going to go Dragon Claw, but you clicked Terra Fairy instead. It's like
yeah, and I just want to like also remind the audience that most of us here didn't like Open Teamsheet.
No.
Like in 2020, I didn't like Open Teamsheet, and it wasn't because it stifled my creativity. It's because I just don't like it. I think that gathering information during a match is a skill in best of 3.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with that.
And that's a skill that everyone should be developing. But if the game itself has shifted away from that to a point where the company that runs the game doesn't want that to be a thing, guess what? It's just not part of the game anymore.
Open Teamsheet and without Open Teamsheet are the exact same games. And if you believe that they are not the same game, I genuinely think you are not playing the game at a skill level high enough to be able to realize that they're the same game.
I want to add a quick side point. Information gathering doesn't not exist anymore.
Oh yeah.
It is still very much a skill. Just because like information gathering as in figuring out what items they have, what abilities, if it's a Pokemon that can run 2 different abilities, things like that. That information gathering is still, it's not there. It's good for ladder,
Yeah.
But things like stat spreads, remembering this move does X percentage, this move under these conditions will OHKO. Knowing that and kind of sussing out their EV spreads and things like speed and whatnot is still really important because, I don't know, as someone who's playing Trick Room, every single time it was a struggle of, okay, this is a Pokemon that is, like, support bulky, this is a Pelipper, this is a Garganacl, this is another Annihilape. How much fucking speed does this thing have? Is it still a good idea for me to set up Trick Room? Or will they benefit more from it? Or, with Tailwind, it's kind of just, I set up Tailwind, I do good, Yeah. But I think for those kinds of situations, and then also the reverse of, does X move from them OHKO me? How do I test that? I'm already losing game 1. Okay, let me just Hail Mary and see how much damage this does to me for the next game.
Yeah, I had one game in an Open Teamsheet best of 3 before they had announced it, where the opponent had an Armarouge and they had Expanding Force on it, and and there was no terrain or anything, right? I'm thinking of Armor Cannon. My bad. Where I'm like, I need to know how much this Armor Cannon does to my Amoonguss at -1, because I had snarled it, right? So even though I was going to lose regardless, I still Rage Powdered at the end of that, because I'm like, I need to know how much it does, for the next game. So I know if I can reliably Rage Powder and still, like, keep my Amoonguss. Like, that's a situation where, like, Open Teamsheet wouldn't have stopped that, and it exists in Closed Teamsheet.
Yeah, there's only marginally less information gathering with Teamsheets open than there was without. You still have EVs.
Actually, I would say there is a lot less blatant information. Stuff that could be written down easily.
No, there is less, but it's not, like, in the grand scheme of everything, when you include, like, how they play their team, what combinations of leads are there that they can have, what, like, their EV spreads are.
Yeah. What's their general game
literally,
plan?
what's their game plan? What is going on in their head? There will always be information together in a game of competing with somebody else's mind. Like, if you genuinely believe that opening Teamsheets is the death of, what's it called? Information gathering, you're just dumb. I'm sorry. I'm with you on this, Marcos. Yeah. Pokemon, here's a good way to think about it. Pokemon went from what is that doing to what is he cooking. Yeah.
What is he cooking?
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, because if you're playing against a person and, like, on Team Preview you see, like, a Tropius, you're going, oh, what's that doing? But if you're on Team Preview and you see a Tropius with, like, Harvest, it's like self-setting Sunny Day, all this other stuff. Now your question is, okay, I know what it can do. What is it cooking?
How does it do it?
Yeah.
How does it do its goal now?
How does it do it, and what are you going to do to make it do it?
How are you cooking?
And how do I stop it from doing it?
When are you cooking?
Yeah.
Where are you cooking?
MMA has no strategy involved in it, because I know that people are allowed to kick me.
Yep. I know.
Boxing has no strategy. There's literally 3 moves.
I know that pawns can, like, move forward once and, like, move forward twice if it's the first move, and I know that you can do a cool little maneuver called an en passant if they do a 2.
Google en
passant. No strategy at all in chess. No, not at all.
I think I don't know
I didn't
much
see
about
castling
chess,
on the Open Teamsheet.
Yeah.
It's not creativity that people are losing, by the way. It's fucking magic tricks that people are losing. To Brady's point of like Terra Fairy Tyranitar that's getting Dragon Clawed instead of Earthquake. It's like it's not creative, bro. That's a magic trick. That's some shit that like is possible, but it's like is your creative strat really hope my opponent doesn't know what the fuck is going on? Really? How far do you think you can get with that one? Because not very is the answer.
Yeah. I had a community post that I put on my my community tab, obviously, about a year ago that got reposted to r/Stunfisk by some random person, and like,
oh boy,
it's like one of the top posts in r/Stunfisk now.
I want to hear this.
And it was a screenshot, and the gist, you can find it there. It's very easy to find, but the gist of it was literally just like, hey, I think we should stop calling teams that don't work creative and start calling teams that have a new innovative way to play them. I think what I said exactly was like, we should stop referring to teams that just have a bunch of random Pokemon that no one really sees creative. And we should start referring to teams that may have one or two Pokemon that people don't see as creative, but still function. Or better yet, teams that have an innovative way of playing an existing metagame are arguably, or an innovative way of playing an existing archetype are arguably more creative than teams that don't have a way to play it consistently, that just have a bunch of Pokemon that you don't see, you know?
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
And literally, like r/Stunfisk, surprisingly enough, most people said, yeah, I agree. Which is crazy to me that people on Pokemon Reddit were agreeing with my take.
It's like...
And then there were obviously a few people who were like,
well, yeah,
actually, it's not creative to just use the same team with different EV spreads. I'm like, no, it is. It's actually probably, it takes much more effort to do that than it is to throw a couple of Pokemon together that won't win.
Looking at another human and telling them that they are not being creative in anything that they are doing is fucking weird. Don't do that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying like the team with like random Pokemon isn't creative, but like I'm saying like, we should stop referring to those as cool creative teams and start encouraging people to refer to teams that play
I'm with you.
a functional game as creative in like Pokemon context. Obviously, like if someone's like playing an in-game team and they have like a Caparajah, a Swablu, and like an Eviolite Dunsparce, I'm like, oh, that's pretty
They're
creative.
They're going ham with that.
But like on the Showdown ladder, if someone pulls up with that and it doesn't win anything, it's like, I suppose I've never seen these Pokemon before, but how do you win? And if they don't have an answer, it's like, okay, well, creativity only goes far enough. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I agree, like, you shouldn't tell people how to be creative. But I think in congratulating people on their creativity so far as competitive games go, it should be limited to teams that have a strategy that will work.
There are right answers in Pokemon.
Yeah, I guess that's the best. There is a correct answer.
Yeah.
Like
there are many creative solutions to said correct answers.
Creative solutions. Yes. Okay. No, that's exactly what I've been meaning to say. Okay.
Yes.
No. All right. VGC is a game of making solutions. The problem that you're trying to solve is my opponent will win if they either KO all four of my Pokemon or KO more Pokemon than me by the time the time runs out.
Yeah.
You have to solve that problem.
Yeah.
As long as you can have a creative answer, but we should reward creative solutions.
Yeah.
You know, there's an answer, then there's a solution.
Bitching about it is not an answer.
Gotcha.
Let me throw that out there.
Yeah.
Bitching
about it isn't an answer, but like, what you're saying is like, if you're just like throwing a bunch of random fucking like mons on a team because like they're not used on a team, and like they don't really solve the issue too much, that isn't something you should be praised for. It doesn't. It doesn't function. So like Pokemon,
you should be praised for trying. That's what I'll say.
The goal of Pokemon is to bring a set of tools to a video game to beat other sets of tools. You have different puzzles of teams that your opponent has, and then you have a toolkit of things to beat those puzzles. If you're not beating any puzzles, then like that isn't something you should be praised for.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples I can think of recently is Shadowclaw Groudon. Or actually, no, how about this one? I'm gonna go with Shadowclaw Groudon, because this one makes more sense for the context. That is like, Groudon is the Pokemon that is, weird. You know what? Actually, no. I'm changing my example. Hold on, my metaphor shifted.
I think Shadow Claw Groudon's good.
Yeah, Shadow Claw, but to get my point across, I'm gonna use the good old Pachirisu. Shout out to Seijun.
Okay, yeah. That'll hit.
The reason, the reason that Seijun's Pachirisu worked wasn't because he sat down and thought, "I like Pachirisu, I'm going to use it." Well, he could have. That could have totally been what it was. But what I think is more likely to have happened is he sat down and saw a set of problems of...
Need electric resist,
I need something that can take... I need electric resist, I need electric resist, I need redirection, I need something that can deal with these bulky-ass Pokemon that I can't OHKO. Okay, so what can we do about that? Well, here's Pachirisu. It gets redirection. It's got enough bulk to take a fucking Draco Meteor if you EV it right. That's pretty neat. Oh, and it gets Super Fang. That halves the opponent's HP. Now, most support Pokemon, sometimes they'll get stuck and they just sit there. I think Clefairy does that a lot. It just can't help anymore, so it just sits there, does nothing. Pachirisu, you still have to worry about it, because if it's not redirecting your moves, it's having your HP or paralyzing you with Nuzzle.
See,
This Pokemon solves so many problems because it had this unique moveset and these stats that just hit the right
and it was
benchmarks.
Problems,
That's why it was
unique
used.
to the team too. Because let me kick it to you like this.
Oh,
let me kick
thing.
it to you like this, right? Bro had Gyarados on the team. Bro had Mega Gardevoir on the team. What is that weak to? That is weak to Electric. That is weak to Steel. Wouldn't it be nice if something existed that could redirect Steel and Electric moves? Oh my god, it exists!
Yeah. That's where if you ever see someone's team and they've got this one really weird Pokemon on there and you're like, what the fuck is that doing? Chances are it's either someone's favorite Pokemon or they found that little intersection of perfect solutions that they're needing to oh, it's perfect. I think that's what happened with Tropius. I'm not up to date on what the fuck Tropius does, but it seems like one of those puzzle pieces. It can Terrastalize to get rid of its bad defensive typing. It gets Leech Seed. It gets Body Press. It gets defense boosting moves. It's Celesteela too.
Wait.
And it just does its job.
Wait, I have a genuine question. Is this Tropius running Covert Cloak?
I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Because that's a Garganacl answer if you're running Leech Seed. I was actually trying to find this exact Pokemon the other day. I was like, I want a Grass type with Leech Seed I can put Cloak on. And I was like, oh, Amoonguss. And I was like, oh, Amoonguss doesn't get Leech Seed. Oh, well, keep looking.
Well, because you're looking
for
creative solutions to problems. Exactly. That's it doesn't matter what the Pokemon is. It matters what it can do.
Yeah. The best feeling, though, I will say, is finding out that your creative solution, your little niche thing that you need to work, is a Pokemon that you like.
Yeah.
That's what's really fun about it. And sometimes you create Pokemon that you like. I didn't like Annihilape. I thought he looked goofy. And then he fixed the solution for my team, and now he's my favorite dude. Same thing with Spiritomb. I didn't care for Spiritomb. I thought it was too edgy of a Pokemon. And then I was like, wait a second. He's just a little goofball who tanks everything and does the perfect thing he needs to do for my team. Dark Resist for the Armarouge. Perfect. Sets up Trick Room for the Armarouge. Perfect. It just works.
Yeah. There is live footage of me doing this on one of our podcasts with Graplock.
Yeah, literally. This happens frequently. And this is also another thing on top of the shit we were talking about last episode about the competitive Pokemon players ruining the game because they see things as numbers and digits and stuff. No, we play the game and we use these numbers and digits and we grow attached to them as well.
These are my favorite numbers.
I love the fact that
they're my favorite pixels.
You ever solve a problem? You ever finish a puzzle and be like, I'm so fucking proud of myself for solving that puzzle, right? You can do that and then get attached to the Pokemon because that was the solution to the puzzle.
That's literally
have you ever solved a puzzle and then you have it it's a really big puzzle and you're never going to do that again in your life, so you glue it together and frame
exactly. That's Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's what Pokemon team building is.
That's that's why I love Kyurga so much. That's why I like
Shut up. Your Pokemon's not valid.
That's why
His Pokemon's awesome.
It's why I like Breloom. It's why I like Godengo. It's why I like Murkiri. It's why I like half the Pokemon that I like are Pokemon that I've used in the video game and used it to some success, and it's just been so good. I would, in Nerf, there is zero way I would have liked Pheromosa without having used it in VGC.
Same with Gothitelle for me. Same with Gothitelle for me.
Yeah, I literally...
No, me too, Gothitelle.
But I used it in VGC. I like the way that it worked. It was a very high defense mon, which is something that I like playing in Pokemon. And now Pheromones is one of my favorite Pokemon, just because the way it works in the game, but also it let me grow, like, an appreciation for the Pokemon itself as, like, design, and then, like, doing research and stuff. And this is, like, I don't know, something that people don't seem to realize, because this happens in fighting games as well. There'll be a character that I absolutely... One of my favorite characters of all time, Naoto Shirogane from Persona 4. There's no like, I wouldn't even play Persona 4 unless I played this character in, like, BB Tag, which is a fighting game. It was like I played her in that game once, and loved the character so much that it became my personality for, like, 6 months, and then I played the game and just kept on liking the character. That wouldn't have happened otherwise. And this is, like, I don't know, I feel like this is something that people just, like, lack to comprehend all the time in any competitive thing. It's like, I don't know.
I'm gonna
and Pokemon especially.
I'm gonna address the crowd of people that are like, okay, well, what about when we're supposed to find creative solutions to problems and everyone keeps using the exact same solution? Incineroar. I'm half with that crowd. I'm half with, like, yeah, it can get repetitive. It can get, like, you know, it can feel like...
I was getting real sick of Rinya's
Yeah,
song.
it can feel like the creativity is, like... See, I'm a designer, right? I'm an artist. I see this as, like, when people try to emulate the same style, and people try to emulate, like, oh, I want to make art like X person, and when, like, 20 people say that, it's like, what about what you want to make? You know what I mean? Like, like, I'm with you on that. I still think in that there is room to be creative, right?
Yes.
In centralized metagames, in shit where, like, oh my god, this one thing is probably kind of, like, necessary if you want to actually create wins. I mean, like, it can it be annoying? Yes. Can it still be creative? Absolutely. Look at the people that were running triple steal at Worlds with, like, Zacian Dialga. Like, what the fuck? That didn't exist before then, right? So, like, I think... here's how I'm seeing this in my head, right? Somebody said cooking earlier, right? Like, what were they cooking? You gotta be, I would think, like, even understanding of cooking before you can start to judge other people's cooking, right? I see people be throwing shit together, like, if you were to be cooking, and you know video game cooking, like Breath of the Wild or some shit, where it gives you, like, a menu, where it gives you
sandwiches.
Yeah, sandwiches in Pokemon is a great example of this, where it gives you a menu of options, right? Of, like, what do you want to put into this thing, right? You don't know what the product will be unless you already have a recipe, which is actually what a team structure is, but holy shit, that's a different topic for another time. If you just throw random shit together and expect it to work, you are already setting yourself up for failure. That's not how cooking works. That's not how creativity works. That is not how solving problems works. So don't do that. Because when you throw it all into the pot and then it goes ding, 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 that's your fault. That is not the fault of the metagame. That is not the fault of other players being creative, solving solutions.
That's
Shut
what
the
it
fuck
sounds
up.
like. That's the noise it makes.
You're looking.
It's like if someone went on Iron Chef and was like, "I just hate that everyone else is making creme brulee in such an the same way.
It's mad 'cause bad.
Why can't they make
dude.
creme brulee in a creative way?"
Like, you're looking like Linguini from Ratatouille. Like, at the start, before the rat comes along, he knocks over a pud and he just fucking starts throwing shit in. And it tastes horrid. And then you see the
mad because bad at the highest degree, and then you start to project it and take it onto other people. Like, really? That's what you're gonna do?
I'm gonna say, people who complain about the metagame and, like, can't build to beat it, they're not just bad. I'm gonna say it. I'm actually gonna say it.
Oh, he's gonna say words.
Oh. They're very bad. I'm gonna throw up. Sorry, I wasn't ready.
Why are you so mean?
I wasn't ready to say it, but it had to be said.
How could you, Marcus? This is unforgivable. We're kicking off the podcast.
Kung Pao.
I've been mad like all episodes. So y'all can redirect your age at me. I'm fine with that. I got you, Marcus.
Anger is fine. You're allowed to be angry. Anger is good as long as you're not taking it out on other people. Anger is fine.
taking
Yes.
you out of the content that other people listen to is a little bit. My bad.
Wait,
No,
what? Huh?
What?
Don't worry about it.
I'm worrying a little.
No, I mean, I think.
You're allowed to vent with your friends and loved ones.
Yeah, I think with anything,
fine.
venting's important, right? So like,
You're his friends. I'm his
there's
loved ones.
that being said, though, right? When it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to venting in like content or some shit, I don't want to be like, Twitch streamer guy that like fucking like opens up Twitch and is like, "Hey everybody," you know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, whoa. I'm trying to avoid that.
Hey, want to see how hard I can
literally.
cry?
literally. That's the only thing. I'm just like, oops.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, we're all prepping for tournaments right now, right?
I'm
I'm
literally doing
not-
it as we speak.
I think
Yeah.
Knoxville's possible for me to go to. I think.
Okay, Ash, are you not going to the North Alley 20?
That one's in June.
I'm going to that one.
Okay, you literally can't.
Oh, you're
prep
talking
for
about
that
Fresno.
yet.
You're talking about Fresno, right? Yeah. I'll be there too.
Yeah. That one's in June. I don't know if I'm going. I think I'll only be able to go if I can find a friend to stay with because, well, it's more the trip getting there that's a pain because it's a 4-hour drive and that sounds awful. At that point, I'm not going to make anyone do that because I still don't have my license.
Yeah.
So I'll take public transportation.
Yeah, I'd need public transport
Yeah.
all over the
Yippee.
place. I wouldn't have a car to get there. I'd fly in. That's what I'd have to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Road trip?
Road trip?
Okay. No.
Me and
Aw.
Marcos in a car on the way to California for 64 straight hours. Yeah, no, I'm not down.
That sounds so awesome.
No, that'd
that
be
sounds
so
like a
sick.
swell time.
We
As
would,
hype as that would be.
Marcus, we would listen to Jamiroquai, right? We should listen to Jamiroquai together.
Jamiroquai. We're gonna go deeper underground, bro.
We'll listen to... I think the Clown Band? I don't know.
Clowncore.
The clown
Talking
man.
about Insane Clown
Clown
Posse?
Band.
Or are we talking about
No, Clowncore.
Right. Oh, the guys in
In the
yeah, in
toilet.
porta potties.
I think it would be
Shout out to the guys in the toilet.
Who up porting they potty?
It'd be really funny because we'd give Markers the Ox. 1 second we're listening to, like, Fighting Gold, and the next minute we're listening to, like, the clowncore music.
Some avant-garde.
Dude,
bullshit.
avant-garde might be the
And-
most perfect way to describe when I handed Marcos the Ox in my car.
Oh yeah, Michael experienced Enemy of the Ox.
Bro, it went from, like, Amish to, like, Mongolian throat singing. And I was like, where are we? It was hype,
That's
though.
bass.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's
it was
what
hype,
you-
though.
No,
That's-
I'd be so
This
fun.
is just a peek into my twisted mind.
I like that. Wait, is there something you could do with Pokemon for that? I thought of Incineroar only briefly just because it's black and red, but like what
Piss.
what could you do to be like, this is just a peek into my twisted mind for Pokemon?
That's Incineroar 2. That was y'all when you were
Oh
making
wait, no,
Incineroar
I made a
2.
meme about that. It was I posted a picture of Hariyama. And I
This is
said,
my
like, I
sick
drew a
twisted
dark
version of
and-
Iron Hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said I drew a dark and messed up version of Iron
funny
Hands.
as
This is just a peek into my
There you
twist.
go.
Dude, it popped off. I got
There
like
you go.
1,000 likes.
That's
Hell
what I was
yeah.
looking for. Yeah, turns out it already exists.
Dark and twisted version of Iron Hands.
It should be like Persian and Alolan Persian.
Oh
think
my
I-
god.
I think my favorite ones of those are when the evil and twisted version is just like a regular thing.
Yeah, like Ariyama.
Yeah.
Or it's like it's just the
no,
same
dude, you
image,
do
but they've got like angry eyes.
Jigglypuff and
drawn on them.
Screamtail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Your darked up,
You know,
fucked up
there's,
version of Jigglypuff. Call it Screamtail.
You know,
Hey, do you guys think I can fit the words "quirked up white boy" on my Hariyama or on my No, I can't fit it. I was gonna name my Iron Hands "quirked up white boy."
I'm trying to be built like
somebody
Iron
tried
Hands.
to put Gug on my knuckle on the Garganackle and it didn't work. So
Pain.
at least on Showdown it didn't work.
I'm trying to be built like Iron Hands.
She garg on my knuckle till I salt
Trying to be
cure.
built like Garganacle. I've never said it like that in my life. Yeah,
Are you
I don't know
on
how
the
I
line
even pronounce
now?
that. I don't think I could replicate that even if I tried.
Not the sodium chloride, guys.
Today,
the what now?
This morning, Michael, all right, 5 a.m. or like, I think it was 5 a.m. This morning, Michael sends me my 2 thumbnails for the morning. He goes, here you go, Chief. And I said, my response to him sending me my fucking shit was, what if it's pronounced jargonacle?
To my response of, what if it's called large grammatical?
I just like, what if it's pronounced jargon? No, imagine the Pokemon anime comes out and it's just like, no, imagine the person who has to break it to us is Necra. And then, you know, Rosemary just gets on stream. She goes, and Joe sends out the jargonacle. It's like, they told me that's how it's pronounced, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. That would be wonderful.
Joe sends out the jargonacle.
Yo, the motherfucking jargonacle.
He's
hitting the
kind of a
quad.
jarhead.
Jargonacle's hitting the quad. Everyone look. Hey, that Gargonacle they have at the Shell Shack, it's singing.
Come on. Deep cut SpongeBob references. How are you feeling about Garganical usage right now, by the way? Because that shit is everywhere.
I'm gonna kill someone.
Okay. Well, apparently not well about Garganical usage is how we're feeling. Good to know.
Gargonacle was on the same level of, like, a believer to me for a long time. It popped up, and I'm like, ugh, so
well,
pure.
I play a very cycle-heavy play style, if you guys haven't noticed, by my 1,000 teams. So I have to eventually touch Garganical, and I'm really scared to touch Garganical, because once I do, it's over for all you guys.
I'm surprised I haven't, because I'm thinking, like, I love fat Pokemon with Recover. My old favorite Pokemon was Milotic before this generation. Mm-hmm. Like, not because of hypnosis and cringe shit. In fact, Garganical is like Milotic, but based. But, like...
So true.
I don't know.
Actually, no,
I don't know. I feel like I've got to try it, because it feels like it would be right up my alley. There's so many Pokemon that I haven't been able to try yet, and I'm surprised I'm saying that, because... I mean, I know I don't have the time to be playing as much as I used to, but, like... I don't know. There being Pokemon out there that I'm like, yeah, I'd vibe with you, but I haven't met yet is like...
Yeah, actually, let's make Garganical the next Showdown Live, but we'll play it so fucking toxic.
Choice Band Stone Edge.
I don't want to play toxic. I want to fight.
Well, no. I want to do like Salt Cure with toxic spikes, and also we have like Volt Switch Fake Out and
what
like just multiple Fake Out mons, just like and Gothitelle so they can't switch. Just
I want to play it funny, not like
criminals.
that.
She said funny, not evil, bro. What the fuck?
We're gonna do crimes.
Murkiri is that one image of Gengar, and it's like, today I will cause problems on purpose to
That's literally my Twitter.
To your point, though, Garganical Gothitelle, that sounds fucking awesome, because the only way to stop Stalk Cure is if
Oh, no, I've been thinking about it all week. I'm scared.
Bro.
Like, I've been thinking about it, and like, I'm literally... I've been sitting at my desk all day at work, and I'm like, cold sweats. Like, am I gonna... Literally cold sweats, thinking, like, I have to use Garganical Gothitelle, or someone will use it against me.
You gotta put your Garganical against my Gothitelle, bro. We gotta touch them together.
No, I'm
Don't
not like
say
that.
it like that.
I'm not like
that. I mean, I don't know what kind of innuendo you're talking about. I meant like fist bumping Garganical and Gothitelle. That's what I was seeing in my head.
Gargle on my neck till I salt.
That's what I was seeing in my head.
Hear me out, guys. Espathra? Question mark?
No,
I'm
bad
down for
Pokemon.
Espathra.
I've seen it firsthand.
We've already built a Spathra.
No, not for live Markers. No,
tournament
Espathra's my baby.
Building for Okay, I'm a level with you, because we're still on the food metaphor. At least in my head, I am. Building for Showdown Lives, Marcos, is like easy bake oven cooking with like Play-Doh stencil cutters.
Yes,
it is, bro. It is, and
it is.
Building
no,
for,
I agree with Michael. It is.
Building
it's
for
very
a tournament
easy.
though is like Michelin star level cooking. I love doing that shit.
Oh my god.
No, Mike, you've seen the difference between my fucking Showdown Live teams and the team that I brought to like the Nido tour. Like,
even when I be doing thumbnails, I be putting the Pokemon in the thumbnails, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? There's such a discrepancy between.
What is Marcos doing?
So the Showdown Lives are actually like, you have like the best fucking ingredients. You're making a sandwich. You got the best fucking ingredients out there. You got like prosciutto. You got like high quality cheese. You got some like spinach. You got some like really good tomatoes. You got some fucking some just high quality sandwich meat. And then, putting it all together, you got, like, the best bread. You got brioche. You got brioche.
And then you got the subject of the sandwich that drags it all down, which is like canned tuna.
and then you go into this fridge. You find like 3-week-old mayonnaise. Grab it out of the fridge and just fucking
3-week-old mayonnaise showdown live.
Just
bro,
like,
I'm gonna keep it real with you, Brady. I tuned out when you said tomato.
Wow.
Damn, the racism is real.
It's not racism. You just
Route
said it
1
wrong.
iceberg. Marco's racist.
I still find it so funny, that whole story of that guy who thought you were being racist against Mexicans.
Oh yeah, because I said Chicano rap, and I'm like, no, it's okay. Oh no, you're talking about the other one.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's happened twice.
Yeah, I mean, I told both this. It was within like an hour.
Yeah.
Never in my life have I said I want to close Twitter so bad, but I didn't because I'm stronger than them.
You are more powerful, simply.
But Espathra seems kind of cool.
I think Espathra is an ingredient that needs to be experimented and pushed further because it has sauce.
Okay, so Lumina Crash is amazing. Both like versus two of like the main like. You have to break us, guys. It's the Garganacl and the Dondozo. They do amazing interverse because you just spam Lumina Crash.
And
like,
Iron Hands.
Yeah, Iron Hands is really good. Previously it was Annihilate, but it was good into but now it's good into Iron Hands.
And Garganacles are poison 99% of the time.
Right?
So also,
right? Like that's what I'm thinking.
I
think
hate
about
that.
Bundle.
I
Think about
so
Bundle
much.
too. If you're speed boosting up, eventually you'll get faster than Bundle. And
you
Bundle fucking sucks.
Two-shot it every time.
Like it's Spidef sucks. So
if you're not running Scarf Goldanger, if you run Max Modest Espathra, you outspeed Goldanger by Timid Goldanger by like 8 points. So you always have like Lumina Crash into Make It Rain turn 1 if you are able to like do outspeeding stuff.
Neat.
Which is like super cool. It's really good support for Paradox guys as well.
Bundle.
It's essentially this. It's good for good with your own bundle. It's good with your own Flutter main. It's essentially what you were doing with Iron Moth without the booster energy, and like you have to take a turn to boost up, but also, what's a Espathra scared of? Dark types. You got a fairy type clicking D-Gleam next to you. Like that's not a problem. I think Neil in one of the showdown lives that we did, screens is really good. Before I was running like a D-Gleam Terra Fairy set, but I think you actually want to be doing like maybe like Ghost type screens Lumina Crash Protect, or like Dark type even. You're still weak.
I think Ghost is the best.
Ghost is good because you don't get faked out. In my hypothetical, you run like a covert cloak on Goldanger, like you said, so you don't get soul cured or anything, or like if you Terra Steel, you don't get faked outed.
Faked it outed.
So that's a cool thing that I've been trying to cook, because I've been using Espathra a bunch in Series 1, which is another thing I wanted to bring up. Series 1 is coming to a close in like a week.
Yeah, it makes me sad, honestly.
It's a little sad, but I think
2 is looking fun.
It's like a mini.
2 is looking very fun.
2 is looking a lot
guys,
of fun.
Now that we only have a few days to enjoy this format, I have to admit something to you.
Mm-hmm.
I did not care for Series 1.
Damn, that's crazy.
I liked it.
It's cool.
I liked it a lot.
Mousehold
mostly because
cool.
I found. Yeah, Mousehold stocks in the ground. But I liked it because I got Jamil to work. Because
so true.
We have an Espathra on the team as well, so I have a video of that coming out tomorrow of the time of the recording. I was supposed to bring it out today, but I was EP after work, and I worked out. And
Bro was EP!
I was EP, and I walked out after work, and put like 20 kilos of weight on like what I normally do, and
holy moly,
yeah,
trying to push my limits. I'm charging up down B with Cloud, because I hadn't been to the gym in like a week, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hate myself tomorrow, but I'm gonna do it. And I actually don't hate myself tomorrow. I'm fine.
Hype.
I feel okay. So,
dude. being sore after the gym is one of the best feelings. I don't know why.
Oh no,
it's like
absolutely. Like if you feel like hurt after gym, but you have like this weird like accomplished feeling.
Yeah, because it's like I did shit. I did enough to make my body be angry at me.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, resident health experts, how bad of an idea is it to do my workout then get stoned afterwards? That's probably not good for me, right?
I've actually I've actually watched a lot of videos on this specific topic. There's actually a really good video by Jeff Nippert about working out high or getting high after you work out. As it turns out, there might be a benefit.
All
to
right, well,
before
good to know.
But only but only if you're doing like body weight exercises, because then it's safe. If you're using like free weights, you should not be inebriated. But for body weight exercises, what ends up happening is there's like there aren't a lot of studies, but there are a few studies that show that the mind-muscle connection gets a little bit better because you become single-minded in what you're doing.
I put my one brain cell in my muscles. Yeah, you're smart.
Fun fact.
It's basically like you go on autopilot and it makes it easier to complete sets.
Right, so what I'm hearing is
that makes sense actually.
What I'm hearing is
neat.
after pod, I still need to eat food today, so I'm gonna work out first, do 100 push-ups, get stoned,
100?
make a pizza, and then just fucking like try to exist for the rest of the night.
I'm editing a video for like most of the rest of the night. We voice chat with me while I have my video. Man.
I'm playing Fire Emblem for the rest of the night.
I have a date night.
Yay! We all have plans. Michael's is get stoned.
Well, I had like 70 plans today, and I couldn't do any of them, so I ended up just being like, you know what? Fuck it, me day.
Yeah.
Speaking of overstimulation and a lack of ability to focus, I am getting tested for ADHD soon.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's hype.
And the reason is because I was talking about it with my girlfriend after like hearing about like symptoms, and I was like, oh, I haven't been able to focus. Like when I'm in lectures at like school, all throughout high school and college, I found it very difficult to listen to anything the professor was saying for more than 5 minutes at a time, and then I would just immediately go off and thinking about other shit, and then before I knew it, the class was over. Homework I had to do it with someone else every single time.
Yep.
That's how I got all my assignments done, because
honestly,
not because I needed them to do it for me, but because if they didn't have me consistently like, okay, we're doing this one now, I wouldn't get it done.
Right there with you.
I feel that. I feel that.
And I want to do it too.
My productivity
like,
next to people is
do
like
it.
Next to people, my productivity like goes way up.
Same.
That's a thing, apparently.
Yeah.
ADHD
okay.
podcast.
No. This isn't just an ADHD thing. This is like a thing. If it's why they have younger kids work together. Because if you see someone else, if you see other people working around you, you yourself feel more motivated to do it.
Yeah.
And it's also like
social.
Yeah, it's social stuff, and also you feel like you have someone holding you accountable for getting it done. That's like right next to you.
Yeah. Fun
Dude,
fact.
but
like,
sorry.
Oh, sorry. The most common way, at least recently, people have been like realizing that they have ADHD is just like
because someone else realizes it.
Like, yeah, it's like someone else around you has it or has like recently been diagnosed, and then it gets explained to the other people, and then you tell them, oh, these are the symptoms, and then a person's like, oh, this is like very familiar. Like that's how my dad found out. It's how I found out.
Brady's like 90% sure that I've got it.
I'm 90% sure Michael does. Like, and now that I know, I can sort of I can help and also tell like, oh, this person, like based on what they're saying, they probably have ADHD, and a lot of people have been realizing, and that's why it's like this huge crowd of people. It's like, oh, there's so many people saying that they have issues now. No, they're just realizing that they have issues.
Yeah, they're just realizing
for a long time.
That's a thing that is like there's a few like diagnoses with that. Basically, like people think that like, oh, the rate of this is going up at the same time as this. I think that there was someone who said like the rate of ADHD is going up with how many people are using social media, and it's like, well, actually, it's more just that we're more readily able to diagnose it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things. Like I feel like one of the best just solid examples of this is whatever year they stopped reprimanding being left-handed in public schools, and then compare that to the percentage of left-handedness in the population, it just goes right up. Duh, because you stopped stopping people from doing it, you know? Like, once people have access to information.
Left-handedness is an abomination.
Shut up. That's how depression and anxiety is treated. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I don't know, I see it a lot in like boomers and just older people, and like, PTSD is something, you know, that war veterans had, right? But they lump in the anxiety and depression with PTSD because anxiety and depression are scary words that we don't want to say because that means you're weak. You're weak and you're sad and you're scared. You know? Yeah. I don't know. I feel
you're all just babies nowadays.
Yeah, that kind of shit is ridiculous because it's not we're babies, it's that people have more self-respect for themselves and I think feel like they are owed to be, you know, like, respected as people who have problems.
Self-respect is so fucking powerful.
Self-respect also, that's becoming more of a thing. A lot of people, at least in America and at least with the younger people around me, it feels like people are a lot less likely to say, I'm going to do this because my parents told me to. And that could just be because I'm around a bunch of 20-year-olds who now have freedom as they're going to college. But it's a lot of like, I'm going to do what I want to do rather than what people expect of me to do. And I think with that comes learning more about yourself and being more honest with yourself. Thanks. You know, I have some friends who found out that they have autism at, you know, at this age, at my age, in their 20s. And, you know, like Brady, your dad, however old your dad is, probably a grown-ass adult thinking, like, oh, I might have ADHD.
Yeah, in his 50s, like...
Yeah, that doesn't mean he didn't have ADHD before. It's that now he's like, oh, that's what was causing
That's why I'm like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I literally will have a calendar telling me everything I need to do and explaining to me exactly how I do it so I can go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night and then go to bed at midnight anyways.
Oh my god, this couldn't be more perfect to talk about this at the end of the episode, that we were talking about, like, creative solutions to shit, because when you understand why you are the way that you are, you have full control over what you do. So, like, it's the same shit that we were talking about earlier. Why are we doing the things? When you know that, you can use that why. That's crazy.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about diagnoses. And, you know, this is for all the viewers. I know people who have self-diagnosed. I know people who've got official diagnosis. No matter what, if you start looking into it and start thinking, I think I have this, but you don't want to go out and diagnose yourself, just treat yourself as if you have this. If you have ADHD, if you have autism, anxiety, depression, anything that can affect how your brain interprets information, treat yourself like how you think. Just pretend you have it officially diagnosed. You definitely have it. Because if the solutions that people recommend for these things start working for you,
good. It's just
there you go.
Benefit, yeah.
Is great. Yeah, you figured it out.
Who are
you know?
you and why?
And I want to. Yeah, massive props for both you, Marcos and Brady, both of you guys, for going like, I think I have this thing, and then going out and doing the research and, like, rather than just shoving it down, like, no, there's no way I could have that.
One thing I do want to say, I do not promote self-diagnosis. I think you should always see a professional. I agree. But I think that you're right in that if you think you have it and you need to find a solution, try out the solution if you don't have the ability to go see a professional. Yeah. But I do think that you should go see a professional before maybe announcing to the world, because I know that's been an issue recently. Because my girlfriend's like a psychologist, and she like gets really annoyed with TikTok now because there's a lot of people who will just self-diagnose everything.
Yeah,
you know what? I get why.
And here's the thing. I think that's where a lot of so many people have so many problems these days crowd comes from, because it's a lot of young kids self-diagnosing. And even some adults. And honestly, for me personally, I don't see the harm in that. Because if you think you have a problem and you start trying to help yourself with said problem and then it ends up, oh, I don't actually have this issue, then it's like,
Whatever
Okay.
solutions you're enacting
Cool.
are probably still
Nothing
helping.
bad has happened because
Yeah,
of
whatever solutions.
I don't know.
that
Maybe
you're, like,
maybe it
looking
has mistreating yourself can be an issue, but I feel like also as you're a kid growing up, especially on the internet age, that's the other thing where the ADHD thing comes from. You have so much media coming at you all the time. Your brain wants to be stimulated all the time, which is a thing with both ADHD and also overexposure to everything, you know? So that's why I think it's hard to tell for some
there's
people.
There's overlap in the solutions between, ADHD stuff and then just stuff that is blighting people in general in the way that things are changing.
Yeah.
So, like, I think
that's why I hate those fucking accounts that make fun of younger kids for, like, self-diagnosing and giving themselves, like, neo-pronouns and all this stuff. You know, I don't see any harm in it. I see someone who doesn't understand who they are, and so they're trying out a bunch of stuff to figure that out. I don't see any bad in that.
You're growing up, you gotta figure out who you are.
Yeah. For things that can, impact you mentally to a large degree, I think you should seek a professional diagnosis and professional help. Things like therapy and medication can help a shit ton. But don't feel like I'm gonna have to go spend $1,000 to go get this diagnosis. Good old America. Take your time, figure it out, and try some solutions. You can self-diagnose for a bit, but if you feel like it gets to a point where this is still inhibiting you a lot, then I think that's the point where you have to see someone who knows a lot more than WikiHow.
he kicks you like this. Don't do drugs unless you need to. Go get somebody that tells you that you need to.
Don't do drugs, Michael, the guy who was talking about smoking before he did his workout today.
Speaking of which, I gotta go do my workout.
Go bench Stakataka.
You want to know who I would love to smoke a blunt with?
That'd be hype too.
Stakataka.
Stakataka. I don't think he has a mouth or a nose or a respiratory system, but you know what? I think he could still vibe with it.
He's got like multiple respiratory systems. I think like all of his little blocks are like little. Yeah.
Every little brick is its own thing.
He's a lot of guys.
Oh, that's weird.
Stakataka goes by they them pronouns, not because he's not because they are non-binary, but because they are multiple
guys.
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I think Stakataka eats by like just sitting on top of you, because he's hollow in there. You just
he just like has the consuming void underneath him.
Yeah, it's a black hole in there.
It's like
no, we're talking about the anatomy of Stakataka.
Anyway, welcome back to the Patreon minute. Thank you very much to Crazy Carlton, Jarrett the Carrot, Plumber, Professor Jones, Ryan, and Turdra. As well as everybody else.
Hit the Quan.
Hit the Quan. Girded FFA content on there.
Yes, I need to catch up. I need to make more mons. Brady has been like cooking shit. He's been hunting, shiny hunting. He's been making sets and showdown and like trying them out. I'm scared.
Yeah, Brady, you have to warn us. We have to like plan out FFA sessions so we can actually build mons.
That shit costs resources that I don't have.
I'm gonna keep it $150. I've been making FFA mons more than I've been making Series 2 teams.
That's based.
Bye, everyone.
But yeah, anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.